sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. I was sleeping. I was dreaming about Zoom meetings. Just kidding. All right, so awkward start to our next module. So we are in Unit 2, Biological Basis of Behavior. We are in Module 16, which is called States of Consciousness. And primarily what this unit is about sleep. All right, so hopefully you got a good night's sleep and you're feeling pretty motivated and alert, and your biological clock is allowing you to fully understand this particular video. All right, and you can hear my dog in the background. All right, so let's get started. If we have the right, nope, you need this one. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. This is States of Consciousness, as I mentioned, Module 16. And I love this one. Definitely, we can spend lots more time talking about this unit, especially after the exam. We can even do a little sleep study if we need to. So what is sleep? Sleep is a periodic natural loss of consciousness as distinct from unconsciousness resulting from a coma, general anesthesia, and hibernation. Okay, so, when you hibernate, no, I'm just kidding, hopefully. Well, actually it feels like we're hibernating in some ways. But that's different than sleep. And that's a natural loss where we need it to rejuvenate things. What is this is another term we need to define before we really get started. A circadian rhythm. It's our bodies roughly synchronized with the 24-hour cycle of the day and night, thanks to an internal biological clock. So we have this internal biological clock that is going to affect our sleep and wake cycles, our temperature, our hormonal and digestive cycles as well. And just to give you more examples, I don't know if you realize this, that your body temperature does fluctuate throughout the day, and it does kind of play a part in whether you feel more wakeful or sleepy. Tends to dip, your body temperature dips in the afternoon and in the evening. And that's why sometimes you feel a little chilly and almost feel a little tired too. Thinking and memory improve as we approach our daily peak in circadian arousal. So you kind of figure out for yourself what your peak is. And I would take advantage of that peak. When you know certain parts of the day, you just tend to feel more alert. Make that your prime, like learning, or at least trying to do like your homework and things like that. Age and experience may alter our circadian rhythm. So we're going to see examples of that as well. Which of the following represents a circadian rhythm? C, our bodies sleep and wake on a roughly 24-hour schedule. They always seem to ask questions about that. How do we study? We use the EEG. It is a brain imaging technique, and it's recording your brain waves. And we emit different waves, or you can see these different wave patterns based on which stage of sleep. And the more waves that you see, we consider that more active. All right, so alpha waves are when you're in bed, your eyes are closed and you're in a relaxed state. So absolute waking beta waves and then waking alpha waves, you're relaxed and you're starting to enter sleep. And then you move into sleep. Sometimes you don't even know when you move into that moment when we're actually falling asleep. But if we measured it on EEG, we could tell. There are two divisions. There's NREM, and then there's REM. Okay, so non-REM, REM. And anything that is not REM is NREM. So all of the other stages, there's going to be, there's the alpha, but then there's NREM1, NREM2, NREM3. Those are all sleep stages, but there are definite differences between that and REM sleep. And obviously it's called rapid eye movement sleep, and that is where your vivid dreams seem to occur. Let's talk about these stages. So you're in class and you're really tired and you start to fall asleep. Okay, you got the alpha waves, and then you're going to hit NREM1. I'm just kidding. Do not do that. Do not try that out in class when you get to class, or be trying it out right now while you're watching this video. I see you. Okay, so NREM1, you may have hallucinations, and sometimes you feel like, the example I give is if you've ever had that situation where you start to fall asleep and then you feel like you're falling out of bed. That is during the NREM1. It's like you're really like starting to, you are in a sleep stage. And we call these hypnagogic sensations. They can get incorporated into your memories. Oh, and hallucinations, like literally you sometimes might wake up during NREM1 and you feel like you see something. Like I've had times where I thought a spider in front of me. All right, then you go to NREM2. NREM2, they don't talk about too much here, but they do notice that there's these little bursts of brain activity, and they're called sleep spindles that are very characteristic of stage 2. So just remember NREM2, sleep spindles. And you can kind of see them here. Wait, where is it? NREM2. Do you see the little sleep spindle? Well, actually, they're not really showing it very clearly here. All right, but NREM3, this one I think is more interesting anyway. This is your slow wave sleep, which lasts about 30 minutes. And your brain at this stage emits large, slow delta waves. And it's actually hard to wake somebody up during stage 3. And you may have had examples where, you know, something happened, there was a loud sound or something, and people are talking about it the next day, and you're like, I don't remember that. And you may have been they may have been in a different stage, and you are in the NREM3. They also say sleepwalking and talkie tends to happen this stage. We call it slow wave delta waves. And notice the waves here. They are definitely slower. You do not see as many waves, so it's slowing. And how do we move through the stages of sleep? I find this very fascinating, because when I first learned it, I was very confused. Hopefully I will help alleviate your confusion. But you know, each sleep cycle, first off I need to tell you, is about 90 minutes. So that means you're going through the different stages, and one sleep cycle is 90 minutes. So we tend to have about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sleep cycles in a typical night's sleep. If you're sleeping the amount of hours you should be, on an average of 7 to 8 hours. So you're awake, you go right into stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, but then the interesting thing happens. You're in the first sleep cycle, you're in stage 3 for quite a while, but then you start to move back up. Stage 2, you're back in stage 1 for a little bit. And then you go into this REM that we're going to go into more detail. Notice that as you progress through the night, that your amount of time in REM is increasing, and your amount of time in the other stages is decreasing. Please remember that. REM increases through the night, other stages decrease. All right, so, and the other thing is they do make sure you recognize that you, actually I should go back here to explain this in a little more detail. Oh no, I already did explain it, that you're not going from like stage 3 to REM, you go back up. So what is REM? REM. Rapid eye movement, it's recurring sleep stage where there's vivid dreams. We call it a paradoxical sleep. And the reason, a paradox is like two different, very different things that kind of are happening simultaneously. So the muscles are very relaxed, so you're not moving, but other body systems are very active, like your thinking, your brain. Thank goodness our body is relaxed, because we would be acting out our dreams. And they can tell this from the EEG. They definitely see the rapid eye movement, moving left to right. You probably have seen it sometimes when you see somebody that's in REM sleep. It's interesting. What physiological events occur during REM? Your heart rate increases, your breathing becomes rapid and irregular. I'll skip over that one. Muscle paralysis occurs except for an occasional twitch. What would you answer? Shortly after falling asleep, James experiences the hypnagogic sensations of falling. It is most likely that he is in which stage of sleep? It's the hypnagogic one. Remember the hallucination things? That is NREM1. All right, so sleep does change as we age. Sleep becomes more fragile with awakenings common among older adults. I unfortunately understand that from personal experience. You tend to not sleep as much. It's definitely right. It's just, it's more fragile, a lot more awakenings. Seem to not need as much sleep because you're not developing, you don't have any more physical development. How do biology and environment interact in our sleep patterns? Sleep patterns are genetically influenced, but they're also culturally influenced. So depending upon the cultures, you might have fluctuations in the actual average sleep. So we have 7 hours of sleep on work days, which I would argue that that's not necessarily the case anymore. Why do American students get less sleep than their Australian counterparts? We have earlier school start times, increased extracurricular activities, and this last one's very interesting. Lack of parent set and enforced bedtimes. I really would like to explore that more. I feel like I want to do more research to see like Australians, like what their parent set enforced bedtimes are. What 3 environmental factors play a role in our biological ability to sleep? Electrical lighting, shift work, social media diversion. So, they're just talking here that obviously that natural light is going to more naturally affect our sleep-wake cycles. But when we have electric lighting, or obviously if you work in a shift where you work all night and then you sleep during the day, and then this whole social media diversions, we could give an example like blue light, that seems to be affecting, if you're exposed to a lot of blue light during the day, it seems to be affecting the amount of melatonin that can be released in the evening. So we're going to talk about something more specifically. I don't think we have this as one of the terms in the slide deck, but I'm gonna explain it to you real quick. It's called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. I have trouble pronouncing that sometimes. It's a pair of cell clusters in the hypothalamus that controls circadian rhythm. So just to sum it up real quick, that it basically helps regulate like where you don't have too much melatonin being released during the day, but releasing more of it at night so you can fall asleep. That's my really quick description. All right, so a light striking the retina signals to suppress the pineal gland's production of the sleep hormone during the day. But then at night, it is going to allow it to release the melatonin. Would you rather be a brown bat or a giraffe? So the difference is obviously they have a much longer sleep cycle and pattern. So this is important, talking about what is the function of sleep. It does have a purpose. It's very important. There's many different categories of how important it is. It protects us. That would be an evolutionary perspective, more specific thing, that our ancestors were better off asleep in a cave out of harm's way. It also helps us recuperate. So it's going to allow us to time to repair and weakening unused connections. It's going to restore the immune system. It's restorative and rebuilding. It helps consolidate our memories by replaying recent learning and strengthening neural connections. So that's why you notice that sometimes if you're thinking about something a lot, it actually just starts even like replaying in your sleep. So that's why I always encourage you to read psychology before you fall asleep. Not that it's going to fully make it so you're going to remember and learn everything in psychology, but at least that's going to be what's replaying in the consolidating of your memories. And then it feeds creative thought. I love this one. I mean, I don't know if you guys have examples where you just feel like you had this really creative moment and in your sleep, or like you wake up and something really creative just came from it. Here's just a quick example. The song "Let It Be." Paul McCartney says that it came to him in a dream. So if you haven't had a chance to listen to that song, very creative, beautiful song. What are sleep's other functions? It supports growth. It's going to help, obviously, babies need lots and lots and lots of sleep in helping with their growth. It helps the pituitary gland release the human growth hormone. Which of the following sleep theories would best explain why athletes perform better after a full night's sleep? I don't know. What do you think? I'm thinking recuperation, but also memory, right? I don't know. I'm having trouble with that one because I feel like obviously you need to help consolidate memories and learning experiences, but you obviously need that recuperation. So. All right. So I wish you a very active day that is not with too much blue light. So I'm going to tell you to actually get off your computer now and your phone, especially an hour or so before you go to sleep. That will definitely help you. And I really wish you a relaxing, restful day after watching this video. All right. Have a great rest of the weekend. Take care.